Hi, good morning, students. How are you? Hi, good morning. So, good morning, Napita. Good morning, Kirtana, Ashraya, Napita, and Prakriti, Kirtana, all of you. The person. Okay. So, I hope you are doing well, right? So, yesterday we finished about the structural part, right? Digestive system structural part we have done. Have you done that? Structural part, you remember? Till the colon, I told you. Till colon, I explained you. Yes. So, notes has to be given for appendix, right? Yes, yeah, yeah. Vermiform appendix. First, you finish that notes, then we are going to start with this, right? So I told you that large intestine is mainly involved in absorption of water and formation of fecal matter. It has a lot of microorganisms that is actually forming the fecus. Fecus is the undigested food with a lot of other things will be added to it that is forming the fecal matter. Good morning, good morning. Yeah. So then appendix, I will give you some short point. Then apart from that, last thing is, oh, Nabita's photo I changed. Good, looking nice. Nabita, all of you put your photos, no? Anish, Sakshi and all, Monisha. I don't know how to put it, but just some of you learn it. It is looking nice, ma. Looking very cute. Right. So all of you put your DP in your as your photo, so that I feel that I'm talking to you directly. Else some names will come, some what do you call it, scenery will come. I will not understand who I'm talking to. How to put, I don't know, dear. You ask your friends only later. I really don't know. I really don't know how to put it and all. You ask Napita once, okay, in the group or separately ask them. I don't know, okay, fine. So let's now talk about the appendix. So what I told you, appendix, it's a small outgrowth present between the ileum and the cecum. There's small intestine to large. Hi, Kirtana. Okay. They'll be present outside as a small outgrowth protrusion, right? This appendix in other animals, it will be helping for the formation or digestion of cellulose. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Later you speak. People speak. Now you don't speak about it. Okay. Just I told you. Later you speak within each other, and Abhita will guide you all. Okay. Now let's continue. I told you the appendix normally is not functional in humans. It is called as a vestigial organ. We are not going to use for anything. So it is just waste organ. It is called the vestigial organ. As I told you, humans have lots of vestigial organs, right? So one among them is the appendix. But normally what happens, if at all there is no proper food intake, or if there is a constipation, then what happens in that area, the food will be stuck and it gets infected, it gets swollen, then it causes appendicitis. So appendicitis forms a huge pain, right? A lot of pain people suffer from in the right side of their groin, means the lower part of the abdomen, right side, right? That will indicate there is something wrong with the appendix. Doctors will say, ask you to get it operated, right? Normally surgically it will be removed, right? Small incision they will make, hardly 2 inches or so. They'll cut it off and remove it. Anyway, it is useless, they will remove it also. If you don't do that, sometimes the infection continues, it will swell up and may break open, releasing all the fluids into the body, and it becomes deadly. So a lot of infected things will enter the body fluids. Therefore, appendicitis, you should not be very careless about it. Okay, right on. Appendix, vermiform appendix. Right on. It is a small protrusion that is found at the junction of small protrusion that is found at the junction of ileum and cecum of large intestine. Ileum and cecum of large intestine. Next, in other mammals, like cow and sheep, it helps in digestion of cellulose. But in human beings, it is non-functional. I repeat, in other mammals like cow and sheep, it helps in cellulose digestion. Cellulose, C-E-L-L-U-L-O-S-E, cellulose digestion. But in human beings, it is functionless, or it's not functional. It is not functional. And is considered as a vestigial organ. And is considered as a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ. Written. Next paragraph. During constipation, C-O-N-S-T-E-P-I-T-I-O-N, constipation. During constipation, there is bacterial infection. There is bacterial infection that results in inflammation of appendix. That results in inflammation. I-N-F-L-A-T-I-O-N, inflammation of appendix. And is called appendicitis. Appendicitis. These patients suffer from severe pain in their lower abdomen. Severe pain in their lower abdomen. It is normally treated through surgical removal. It is normally treated through surgical removal. In rare cases, appendix may rupture. Appendix may rupture and contaminates the entire coelomic fluid. Contaminates the entire coelomic fluid. COELOMIC. Coelomic fluid. Yeah. Contaminating the entire coelomic fluid, and it is proved to be fatal. And it is proved to be fatal. Your mother-in-law had operated, huh? Okay, good. Your mother had this and was operated. Yeah, it will become normal. So many times you will not even know that it is there or not. You know, so easily they do it. Surgery is done, right? Sometimes it is proved to be fatal. Paradra? Okay, done. Okay. So last one we will write. I'll explain you the last one, rectum and anus. Then we will finish this. We are going to start with the functions. Yeah, yesterday I given, still it is on the board. Can make out. And then, so at the end, I told you already large intestine how it will be moving down, and later it will join or it will form one sac-like structure at the end with the anus. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So this is called the rectum. This is the opening called anus, and in the rectum this is the thick layer of the rectum. There will be number of sphincters found here. These sphincters are controlling the fecal matter. Here the fecal matter get deposited. Okay. Normally these fecal matter will be released out when the rectal muscles contract. Rectal sphincters contract and this becomes small, and this will be fecal matter is ejected out through anus. Normally it is the regular program. This rectal muscles movement or rectal sphincters. These are rectum. These are the sphincters. Rectal sphincters we call it. These sphincters movement is involuntary. Means it's not in our hand. Our own conscious will. We can't do that. Right. So everything happens whenever you get the fecal matter to be ejected. We call that process as defecation. Removal is called as defecation. Whenever you feel like urgency to pass the fecal matter, it is not under your control. It is involuntary. The muscles are under the action of autonomous nervous system. On their own, they will contract and you will feel like urgency to pass the fecal matter. But defecation is not under your hand or under your control. So that is defecation. This rectal sphincters and rectal muscles are very hard, strong. Right? I told you already, sometimes there is a problem. What happens if there is a constipation? The constipation will continue here also. The fecal matter here adhere to this area. Will get attached to this area, and whenever they have to pass the fecal matter, the person has to put pressure, right? So that this fecal matter goes out. But during that, so many times there will be a lot of blood vessels over. These blood vessels will break down, and instead of fecal matter, you may have bleeding in the fecus. This bleeding is called as piles. It's a major problem happening in Bangaloreans, a lot of people, because of their food habits, bad food eating, they will suffer from piles. So piles is the inflammation of the rectal muscles leading to the bleeding, right, along with the fecus. So once a person gets this, then he will not dare to pass the fecal matter second time. I hope you know this. It's problematic and highly painful, right? They can't, because part get wounded. There will be infection again. There will be a formation of pus and all. Then they can't pass the fecal matter. So they can't even eat. They can't pass fecal matter. It's the worst thing actually. I'm telling you. Bleeding piles, right? Sometimes these, what do you call, the rectal sphincters will come out like this with lot of things. They get projected. Suppose this is the anus. From here they get projected like this, and they will block this. Because of the pressure, the person who is putting a lot of pressure to pass the fecal matter, they come out and they block the anus. They will not get entry back. This we call it as fistula. This is still painful, right? Anyway, doctors will cut this off and do surgically removal of that, but you can't do it again and again. If you do it, then all the rectal sphincters will go away and it will become uncontrolled defecation. Therefore, till this time arrive, you will have to be healthy. You have to maintain. Don't wait for this to happen. Once it happened, you are gone. Means there is a medicine, but still there is a painful thing. It's a heavy painful thing, and all the time he can't even walk properly. His style will change. He can't move it properly because all the time there will be something in the anal area which is projecting out, and all. It's very bad actually. Right? If you have seen anybody who is suffering from piles and all, you have to be giving them some advices to have some roughage if it is an initial stage. At that time, you should go to hospital if you have some problems in passing the fecal matter. Do you understand? Okay. Have you understood this about this defecation and all? So it looks, oh, Sakshi is so cute. Sakshi has learned Bharatanatyam or something. Very cute photo. Okay, good. Fine. Oh my God, very good. Deshpande, Sakshi Deshpande, we will, once college reopens, you will have a nice time there. Very good. Multi-talented children. Very good, man. Okay, did you understand about piles and all? So do you feel it is so horrible? Isn't it very bad? Have you seen any people, any person suffering from piles? Have you seen anybody suffering from piles? Not only sounds, yeah, sounding is okay. Once it happens, it's a gone case here. Yeah, many people in Bangalore, no, lots of people have got it. And sometimes, yeah, elderly people during childbirth they will get it. Whenever they are giving delivery and delivering the child, there will be a lot of pressure that apply. Yeah, many will have worst of all diseases, worst pain. My God! And I'm telling you, a lot of people have overcome this by changing their food habits. Right? It's not that it is not at all repaired. Change your food habits. You have lots and lots of daily. You make it a point that you tell your parents also to have a lot of fibers, right? Radish and carrot and all, beetroots and all. Make it salad. Scrape the outer part. Make a salad. Put some salt and other things. Pinch of, if you want, you can put some chaat masala and all. Eat it. Or else put it in. Scrape it. Put it in the curds. Little salt. Very nicely it is. Let them all eat it. So even you people also have to practice this, because the way I see the young children like you people, you are all eating all junk food more. Right? Because of the lockdown, germinating seeds also no. Yeah. They should eat, ma. No jeera juice and all. All those things will not work, ma. Fiber, it should go and work there. Listen, whatever you drink will be here only working there. Here it should work, no? In the rectal area. Aloe vera juice ಅನ್ನೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ asparagus mucilage ತಗೊಂತಾರೆ. Asparagus mucilage ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು rhizomatic stem ಇಂದ mucilage ತಿಂತಾರೆ. It's a medicine, but what I'm telling you, change your food habits. Food habits ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ದಿನಾ ಇವನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ವೆಜಿಟೇಬಲ್ಸ್ ತಿಂತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ರೂಟ್ಸ್ ತಿಂತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ, ಫೈಬರ್ಸ್ ತಿಂತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಬರೋದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. Right? So let them start having that. Like if at all you people have it also, you start having lot of such roots, which you can, even sweet potato you can eat. Sweet potato is very easy to eat. Yeah? Take one sweet potato and boil it and eat it. Or directly you can put it on the flame, remove the outer skin, you can eat it directly. They are very good fibrous food, right? And there are a lot of benefits also from the health benefits, right? Don't wait till, oh, I not got, I will eat everything every day, one pizza, one pasta, one this and all that is maida. Avoid eating all that, right? Right? Eat lot of fibrous food. Is it fine? Okay, rectum. Rectum. It is the terminal part of colon. It is the terminal part of colon. I'll just show you on the board. It is the terminal portion or part of colon where the fecal matter, FeCal, fecal matter gets stored. Fecal matter gets stored. By involuntary action of rectal sphincters, by the involuntary action of rectal sphincters, fecal matter is adjusted. Fecal matter is adjusted through anus. Through anus. And the process is called defecation. And the process is called defecation. Next. Next paragraph, you write, in bracket you write note. Note. Piles. Piles. It is a type of piles. It's a type of digestive disorder in which constipation results in forcible defecation, and leading to hemorrhage. Hemorrhage ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ? Bleeding ಅಂತ. Hemorrhage. Leading to hemorrhage. or bleeding. It is associated with inflammation, of rectal sphincters, and pain during defecation. Pain during defecation. It is a leading problem due to bad food habits, and food lacking, the fiber and water in it. Next paragraph, right? Fistula is an associated problem with piles. Done? Okay then. So that's all about the story. We'll now talk about next part. That's about physiology. Okay. So physiology of digestion and the process, how exactly which enzymes will work on this, which type of food, how it is digested. Okay. So before entering into the physiology, I'll give you how the enzymes are named, how do they function, what are the types of substrates what we eat, and how they are broken down. Right. So first I'll give you something about right guiding physiology of digestion. You can't see this. Huh? Physiology of digestion. Okay. First thing I'll give you something about the enzymes. So always food has to be hydrolyzed enzymatically. Means it's not just food breaking into pieces. It is a breakdown chemically by using certain enzymes. So we name these enzymes into different types. First one we call it as the proteases. AS, ES is the term always affixed to add for the enzymes. These act on the proteins, right? These break the proteins into, so end products I'll give you. End products, how do they digest in there? First listen how the proteins will work. So proteins are having number of amino acids. Amino acid, amino acid, amino acid, so many amino acids are there. Okay, so they are the long chains of amino acids. They are all amino acids. Therefore, proteins are called as polypeptide chains. Okay, like this long chain of amino acids in there. So the proteins act on this and they will break them into small pieces, right? So this will form small chains, right? Amino acid, amino acid, amino acid, one chain plus another chain, amino acid, amino acid, amino acid, like this. Some chains are formed. These are called as proteoses and peptones. The long chains are actually polypeptide chains of thousands of amino acids in one group. When they break into smaller pieces, they are called protease and peptone. They are in hundreds of amino acids. Okay. Now, each protein or amino acid, if you observe, amino acid structure I give you, will have CR, COOH. This is H. This is NH2. Right. This is one amino acid. This is the amine group. This is the acid group, right? So I'll write again the structure of amino acid: C, R, H, NH2, COOH. So this is amine group. This is acid group. It's called the amino acid, right? So when these amino acids are present together, right, there will be another amino acid. I just draw once again so that you will get an idea how it is forming. Because it's a thing to understand chemically. You should not just physically go with this. So one amino acid will write CH, R, NH2, COOH. This is one amino acid number 1. This combines with another amino acid, CNH2. This is H. This is R. This is COOH. Okay. It loses a water molecule whenever it has to bind during hydrolysis. It loses a water molecule like this. So this results in, what's the resultant? CRH, NH2 here. Here CO is left. Here NH is left. CONH. It's a binding thing. And here CRH, COOH. And this is binding one called the peptide bond. Do you understand this? Will you follow what I'm saying? Right? This is a peptide bond. Okay? This peptide bond links the amino acids to form a long chain of polypeptides. You understand this, right? So like that, we have long amino acid chain. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe hundreds are there. Okay? So whenever the enzymes act, they will break it into small units. The resultant is small unit. Amino acid, amino acid, amino acid. 100 plus amino acid around 100. Okay, these are called as proteoses and peptones. Okay, this is how they are going to first form. This is the formation of polypeptide chain. Like that, another bind, there will be a long polypeptide. When it undergo hydrolysis, it will break. Reverse will happen. Amino acids get separated. So further, when the proteose and peptones will break, they will form the amino acids. Actually, after this, they form tripeptides having 3 peptide bonds, or they form dipeptides having 2 peptide bonds. Then at the end, they form amino acids. This is how digestion of proteins take place, right? But proteins are formed by these peptide bonds. It's a regularly the protein structure will be having a number of such peptide bonds. Therefore, it is called a polypeptide chain. Now, one more thing, whenever it is breaking, the protein enzymes or proteases are breaking down the protein, they may act at this area, end part. Those which act as the end, they are called as exopeptidases. But I told you in between it is acting. These are called as endopeptidases. Endopeptidase andre center ಗೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, small chains form ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. If it acts at the end, they are called exopeptidases. And it may act at this end or it may act at this end. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಮೈನ್ ಎಂಡ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಗಬಹುದು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. It will break. If it breaks at carboxyl group, we call it as the carboxypeptidases. ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ನಾನು, ಇದು ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. If it acts at the end of the left side, this is on the amine group, which we call as the aminopeptidases. So there are two types of exopeptidases. Some are called carboxypeptidases that act as the carboxyl group. Some are called aminopeptidases that act as the amine group. Right? They are called, both are exopeptidases. Exo ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಗಡೆ, last chain and the last amino acid ಮೇಲೆ act ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. Suppose it acts as the amine group, it is the aminopeptidase. It acts on the carboxyl group, it is a carboxypeptidase. Suppose it cuts in between like this chain, they are called endopeptidases. So if they cut in between, they will form proteoses and peptones. Peptones and proteoses again break down, form tripeptides having 3 peptide bonds. Again they break to form dipeptides having 2 peptide bonds. Further they break to form amino acids, the last two. So this is how they have to completely form the end products during digestion. So if the proteins are digested, they will form end product as amino acids, but not immediately. They will have to undergo step by step breakdown, then form the amino acids. Did you follow this? Don't again ask me, madam, I didn't understand, because this is the most technical thing. If you understand, this is will help in chemistry also, because it's the biochemistry part where they will ask you about the proteases, enzymes, or endopeptidases and exopeptidases. So these enzymes, you have to remember, they are the one acting on proteins. Proteins are the polypeptide chains. Polypeptide chains means having number of polypeptide bonds. Each peptide bond is a CONH bond, which is formed by the loss of water. And these are long chains of such peptide bonds, so they are called polypeptide bonds or polypeptide chains. When they break during digestion, the enzymes may act at the center. Like so many people are attaching their hands and standing like this, one after the other. In idkodidaga chain irtadalla, human chain madhya break adre adike endopeptidase, end one break adre amino acid separate agutte. That is the exopeptidase. Exopeptidase alli ಎರಡು ತರ. ಅಮೈನೋ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಮೈನೋಪೆಪ್ಟಿಡೇಸ್, ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾರ್ಬಾಕ್ಸಿಪೆಪ್ಟಿಡೇಸ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Right. You should understand. Forget about the other things. You should understand this. Okay. Right up. Physiology of digestion. Why do you are confused? Confused ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ಅರ್ಧಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಓಡಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀಯ. ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. What is that confusion? You tell me. Where you confused in the whole board? Where it is confusion for you? Tell me. Whatever I written on the board, where which part you have confused, I'll explain you. That polyandrena. Polyandrena, Sujal. Polypeptide bond andrena, ನೀವು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಗೊತ್ತಾಗದೇ ಇರೋದು. Listen. Proteins andre they are the polypeptide chains anta. Idra proteins are polypeptide chains andre it has lot of big chain having polypeptide. Andre one amino acid to one peptide bond, another binding peptide bond, another binding I'm sorry, these are the peptide bonds forming a polypeptide chain. Each one is a peptide bond. ಸುಮಾರು ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರೀತೀವಿ. ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಯೋಲಾಜಿಕಲಿ ದೇ ಕೆಮಿಕಲಿ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ಸ್. ಹೌದಾ? ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಪಾಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮೋರ್, ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್, ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್ ಬೈಂಡ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಒಂದಕ್ಕೊಂದು, ದೇ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಈ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದೊಂದು ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಚಿತ್ರ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೌ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಇದು ಹೆಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇದೊಂದು ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಇದೊಂದು ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ ಮಧ್ಯ ವಾಟರ್ ಕಂಟೆಂಟ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಅ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಚೈನ್, ಇಸ್ ಅ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್. ಈ ತರದ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಸಾವಿರಾರು ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಪಾಲಿಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಂತ. ಓಕೆ, ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ these are broken down. This is about digestion. This is about how is protein. Right? Now tell me where you are confused again or you are understanding this. ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಸುಜಲ್. ಅಲ್ಲ ಐ ಡೋಂಟ್ ನೋ, ಎಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಂಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯಾರು ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ನ. ವಾಟರ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಇದು ಕಣೋ, ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅವಾಗ ವಾಟರ್ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಿಲ್ ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೋಟೀನ್ಸ್. ಬಟ್ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಆಗುವಾಗ ಇದೇ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ? ಪೆಪ್ಟೈಡ್ ಬಾಂಡ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಯಾರು ಬೇರೆಯವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿ, ಸುಜಲ್ ಸಿನ್ಸಿಯರ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ, ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಡೌಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ಯೂರ್ ಬಯಾಲಜಿ. Should we copy it now? No, don't. I'll give points. It is only for your information. Spelling correct very Sujal. Proteoses and peptones. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು 150 ಇದ್ರೆ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ 100 ಇರ್ತವೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅಮೈನೋ ಆಸಿಡ್ಸ್. Therefore derived proteins. Okay, first you write. Don't want to write what is there on the board. Okay, I'll give these whole thing in the form of sentences. Okay, you need not to write anything from the board. Just for you to understand, I have written it. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಇನ್ಮೇಲಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಕೆಮಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿನ ತುಂಬಾ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Now you have to be more careful. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ರೈಟ್ ಆನ್. ಫಿಸಿಯಾಲಜಿ ಆಫ್ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್. Digestion is the enzymatic hydrolysis of physiology. Digestion is the enzymatic hydrolysis of complex organic food into simple enzymes. Write the heading, side heading, enzymes. Underline. These help in hydrolysis of food. Hydrolysis of food. Hydrolysis of food. And they are named after the type of food substrate. named after the substrate they act. First one, proteases. These are the enzymes that act on proteins. That act on proteins. Next. Paragraph, right? Proteins are the long chains of polypeptides. Long chains of polypeptides. The units are called amino acids. The units are called amino acids. Free of, ma'am, free of their were here and 10th. Yenangandre? I didn't understand. What is this? Then sorry. Yenangandre Janbasappa, I'm not understanding what you are saying. Few of these were there in 10th. Okay, okay, fine. Okay, good. Right on. Okay, write down. Long chain of amino acids, and the units are called amino acids. Then you write amino acids are bound to each other by peptide bonds. The bracket CONH. Peptide bonds, so write CONH. Next. Types of proteases. Types of proteases. Protein digesting enzymes. Protein digesting enzymes are of two types. Namely, endopeptidases and exopeptidases. Endopeptidases and exopeptidases. First, write endopeptidases. These are protease enzymes protease enzymes that act on the long polypeptide chain at the center long polypeptide chain at the center. I repeat. Okay. Endopeptidases are the type of proteases that act on long polypeptide chains at the center and break them down into shorter polypeptides with around 100 to 200 amino acids. 100 to 200 amino acids called proteoses and peptones. Break down into smaller polypeptides of 100 to 200 amino acids called proteoses and peptones. Chandrasekhar, don't go ahead. I will tell you all those things. Right now, general I'm explaining you. Be concentrating. Don't keep on typing. Write some of the things first. When I start explaining, you write about pepsin, trypsin, and all. There are a lot of around 20 types of enzymes I'll give you. Don't only think of pepsin and trypsin. Still, we have to enter. We are not yet entered inside the subject. We are just outside talking about the general enzymes. How are they? Don't worry. But see, again, I'll ask you: pepsin and trypsin, are they endopeptidases and exopeptidases? You should tell me now. You already gone ahead. Tell me, are they endopeptidases or are they exopeptidases? Don't ask me here. I have not yet entered into it. Till I finish, no, don't worry. Nothing in hurry. Are you running now and going to write some exams now? Be your subject first to understand. You will be always thinking that I want to go ahead, I will be very good. No. Be in the present tense, you will be good. Right on. Proteoses and peptones. Written? Next. Proteoses and peptones further hydrolyze to form tripeptides and dipeptides. Tripeptides and dipeptides, and at the end, amino acids. At the end, amino acids. Next, exopeptidases. These are the enzymes that act on the terminal part of polypeptide chain. Act on the terminal part of polypeptide chain. releasing amino acids, releasing amino acids. Next, these are of two types. These are of two types. First one, carboxypeptidase. Underline. They act at the carboxyl end of amino acid. Carboxyl end of polypeptide chain. Carboxyl end of polypeptide chain. Carboxyl end of polypeptide chain. Next, aminopeptidases. These ones. These act at the amine group of polypeptide chain. I repeat, carboxypeptidases, they act at the carboxyl group of the polypeptide chain. Of the polypeptide chain. And aminopeptidases act at the amine group of polypeptide chain. Aida, repeated. Bardra? Okay, let me now give you, don't write all these things. I'm giving you the types of enzymes. Okay. Second one I give you, it is the amine, those which act on the carbohydrates. These are the one acting on the proteins, right? So various enzymes are there. One enzyme I told you is about the protein digesting enzyme. The second enzyme is acting on the carbohydrates. Those are called amylases. Amylases, they act on carbohydrates. Carbohydrates and the starch mele. Okay? They convert carbohydrate and the starch. Example. Starch is nothing but a polysaccharide. Chemically, they are called polysaccharides, having number of sugar units. Polysaccharide. If the enzyme act madidre, they will convert it to disaccharides. Further, they break down into monosaccharides, single sugar units. These are amylases work, right? Next one, lipases are those enzymes that act on lipids and fats. Fats and lipids. Okay? Lipids will be broken down for oils and fats. Oils and fats, lipids, oils and fats. They break the lipids into triglycerides first. Further, they break down into diglycerides. Then they break into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay. Then last one I write it as nucleases. They act on nucleic acids, right? So nucleic acids are again, they act on nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. adu DNA ಒಂದು nucleic acid, RNA ಒಂದು nucleic acid. So if you think of nucleic acids, they are called the polynucleotide chains. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸುಮಾರು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಚೈನ್ಸ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್, ಎರಡು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್, ಮೂರು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಹಿಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಪಾಲಿನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ. ಇದು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಈ ಎನ್ಸೈಮ್ಸ್ ಇಂದ. ದೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಇಂಟು ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ಸ್, ಒಂದೊಂದು ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫರ್ದರ್ ದೇ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇಂಟು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ಸ್. ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಫಾಸ್ಫೇಟ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದೆನ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಇಂಟು ಶುಗರ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇಸಸ್. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಒಂದು ಶುಗರ್, ಒಂದು ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು ಫಾಸ್ಫೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಆಗಿ. ಇದು ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗಿ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಾಸ್ಫೇಟ್ ಆಚೆ ಬಂತು. ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಫರ್ದರ್ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಶುಗರ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. This is how they are going to digest. Just once you watch the board, don't see that I am confused and all. Don't say that. Just observe on the board. ಹೆಂಗ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಡಿ, ಅದ್ರ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಏನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಅನ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೊಂದೇ ತಾನೆ ಶುಗರ್. ಏನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸಲ್ಲ ಆದ್ರೂ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೇಳ್ತೀರಾ ನೀವು, ಅದೇ ನನ್ಗೆ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು. ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೀನ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ವಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಏನ್ ಕಾಣಿಸಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬರೀತಾರೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್. ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಪಾಲಿನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಟೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಒಂದು ಶುಗರ್, ಒಂದು ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇಸ್, ಒಂದು ಫಾಸ್ಫೇಟ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಫರ್ದರ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಫಾಸ್ಫೇಟ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ನ್ಯೂಕ್ಲಿಯೋಸೈಡ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಶುಗರ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ನೈಟ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬೇಸ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಲೈಕ್ ಅಡಿನೈನ್, ಗ್ವಾನೈನ್, ಸೈಟೋಸಿನ್, ಥೈಮಿನ್, ಯುರಾಸಿಲ್ ಸೆಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇನ್ನ ಓದಿ ಅಂದಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕಾಣಿಸಲ್ಲ. ಯು ವಾಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಮೇಲಿಂದ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಕೇಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಕೆಳಗಿಂದಾನೆ ಓದ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. Try to understand instead of questioning. Understand ಮೊದಲು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. See, our brain also is very intelligent. ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದಂಗೆನೆ ಕೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದು. ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಲ್ವಾ, ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರಾ, ಬರೀರಿ. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಪ್ ಎಂಜೈಮ್ಸ್ amylases. Amylases. These enzymes act on carbohydrate in food, carbohydrates in food, namely starch, starch is A polysaccharide is a polysaccharide that is digested into disaccharides first, and later into monosaccharides. Next, lipases. These are the lipid digesting enzymes that act on oils and fats and produce fatty acids and glycerol at the end. Okay, I'll be slow. These are the lipid digesting enzymes that act on oils and fats. Oils and fats and produce fatty acids and glycerols at the end. Produce fatty acids and glycerols at the end. Right, this path. Lipid tomato in path very. Lipid to triglycerides, diglycerides, fatty acids and glycerol. Very path very. Okay, done. So written this line: lipid, triglyceride, diglyceride, fatty acid, and glycerol. Did you write this? Say yes or no. Yes. Next, write lipases. These are the lipid digesting enzymes. Sorry, lipases cycle, right? Huh? Right, nucleases. I'm sorry. Right, nucleases. These are the nucleic acid digesting enzymes. These are the nucleic acid digesting enzymes that act on DNA and RNA. That act on DNA and RNA. During digestion, Nucleic acids are first broken down into nucleotides, further they form nucleosides. ನೋಡಿ nucleosides, and they form later the sugar and nitrogen bases. Sugar and nitrogen bases. Okay. Then all of you write this line in. Nucleotide, sugar plus nitrogen base plus phosphate, nucleoside plus PO4, sugar plus nitrogen base is AGCTU. This is uracil. Again, I'm going to tell them in detail. Right now, this much you write. AGCT ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? adenine, guanine, cytosine, thymine, uracil. Done. Okay. Now with this background, we are going to study the process of digestion. In ಏನು ನೆನಪಿಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಲ್ಲ mouth digestion ಅಂದ್ರೆ digestion is initiated. So digestion initiation andre suppose it's digesting carbohydrate, this will form only disaccharides. Then further if you go to small intestine, it will be broken down into monosaccharides. Hage protein shuru aita, proteins will be broken down first into the proteose and peptide, then from the tripeptide, then from dipeptide, then the amino acids. Again, you should know which part I am talking and how much it is digested in each part. Artha. So that's what you have to do now. Keeping this in mind, you will have to explain, and I will ask you questions in between. What is the digestion? How it's digested? Which part? What? How much it is digested? Right? As you know, what is the part? Mouth is a shuru adaga, everything will not be digested in the mouth itself. Mouth ali shuru agirutte digestion. Okay. Now let's begin with the first one. Digestion in mouth. In mouth. Okay. So food will be taken through mouth, right? Mouth. Digestion yeah, before this I will have to give you the digestive ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ. ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಆಮೇಲೆ ಡೈಜೆಷನ್ ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. Before the digestion, we'll have to talk about the which gland produce what foods, right? So digestive glands I think first. Digestive glands ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ? It's a big chapter actually. Digestion chapter ಒಂದು minimum 10 ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್. Okay, so digestive glands ಅಲ್ಲಿ first ಬಂದು salivary gland ತಾನೆ. Salivary glands will produce saliva, salivary juice. Okay, these produce saliva in mouth. Okay, there are 3 types of salivary glands. First one is called as the parotid gland. Second is called as the submaxillary gland. Third one is called sublingual gland. So there are 3 types of glands. Parotid glands are in one pair, submaxillary in one pair, and sublingual are in bunch. Okay, bunch. Normally parotid glands are found near the ear. Illirtade parotid glands ಎರಡು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡದು, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದಿರುತ್ತೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಷ್ಟು ದೊಡ್ಡದಿರುತ್ತೆ. Parotid glands in the cheek area below the ear, almost ಇಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ. Any sore thing, ಈಗ ಹುಣಸೆ ಹಣ್ಣು ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾವಿನಕಾಯಿ ಉಪ್ಪಿನಕಾಯಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಜಿಮ್ ಅಂತ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಾಕ್ಬೇಕದೆಲ್ಲ, ರೈಟ್? ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ರಿಲೀಸ್, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡೆಡ್, ರೈಟ್? ಸಪೋಸ್ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿಫುಲ್ ಥಿಂಗ್, ವೆರಿ ನೈಸ್ ಸ್ಮೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ ಯು ಫೈಂಡ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ನೀರು ಬರೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ತರ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ parotid gland. ಇಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ parotid glands. ದೆನ್ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದಿದ್ದು ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಬಿಲೋ ದ ಮೌತ್ ಕ್ಯಾವಿಟಿ, ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಬಿಲೋ ದ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಲಾ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸಬ್ ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪ್ರಿಮೋಲಾರ್, ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು 2 ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದರ ಹೆಸರು ಸಬ್ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಲರಿ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್. ಅದು ಒಂದು ಪೇರ್, ಅದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್. ಇದು ಲಾರ್ಜೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇವೆರಡು, ಇದು ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ. ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಡಕ್ಟ್ ಓಪನ್ ಬಿಲೋ ದ ಟಂಗ್. ದೇ ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ದ ಸಲೈವಾ. ದೆನ್ ಸಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಯುವಲ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ದೇ ಆರ್ ದ ಬಂಚ್ ಆಫ್ salivary glands present below the tongue only. ಬಂಚ್ ಅಂತ ಗ್ರೇಪ್ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಅಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾಲ್ಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಸಣ್ಣ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಸಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಯುವಲ್. ಲಿಂಗ್ಯು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟಂಗ್, ಟಂಗ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಸಬ್ಲಿಂಗ್ಯುವಲ್ ಗ್ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ಸ್, ರೈಟ್? ಟಂಗ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ಯಾಪಿಲಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕಾಣುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ, ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಹಲ್ಲು ಉಜ್ಜೋವಾಗ ಹಲ್ಲೊಂದೇ ಉಜ್ಜಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಟಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ಕಿತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬೇಕು ನೀಟಾಗಿ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಬ್ರಷ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಟಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಪೇಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಟಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೀಟಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಮ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿಮಮ್ ಇನ್ಫೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ ಟಂಗ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ. ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಟಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗಿ ಹಲ್ಲು ಉಜ್ಜೋದ್ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಟಂಗ್ ಕೂಡ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಟಂಗ್ ಕ್ಲೀನರ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ್ದು, ರೈಟ್? ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಟಂಗ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಈಗಿರುವಂತ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ಯಾಪಿಲೆ ಕಾಣುತ್ತೆ, ಅಲ್ಲೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಟೇಸ್ಟ್ ಬಡ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. Okay, now below the tongue also you get the salivary gland, that was sublingual glands. Okay, so first one, parotid glands are in one pair, they open through Wharton's duct. Idu neat question. The submaxillary glands open below the tongue through Stenson's duct. Then sublingual glands open below the tongue through ducts of Ravenous. I don't know, I will give all ಅಂತ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀಟ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಇದಿಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇದರ ಡಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಹೆಸರು ನೀಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಡನ್. ಓಕೆ, ರೈಟ್ ಡೌನ್. Digestive glands. First one, salivary gland. These are found in the mouth cavity. And they produce saliva. These are of 3 types. Write the 3: parotid gland, submaxillary, and sublingual glands. Bharadra, write down skydiving, carotid glands. These are the largest salivary glands. They are in a pair. Largest salivary glands are found in a, they are in a pair. They are located in the cheek area below the ears. Below the ears. Next, they open in below the tongue through a duct, are located in the cheek area. Cheek and the cheeks got the chubby cheeks. Cheek area below the ears. They open into the mouth cavity below the tongue through Wharton's duct. Just a minute, ulta bari देखो, ulta bari, I'm sorry. They open in below the tongue through ulta bari. I'm sorry. Stenson's duct. Stenson's duct. This is Wharton's duct. Okay, Stenson's duct adu. Then ಬರ್ತಿರೇಗ Stenson's duct ಅಂತ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. It's a neat portion, but still you write. Next, submaxillary glands. These are smaller than carotid glands. They are located below the premolar teeth of lower jaw. They are located below the premolar teeth of lower jaw. Of lower jaw. It opens below the tongue through Wharton's duct. It opens below the tongue through Wharton's duct. Next, sublingual glands. These are small bunch of glands, salivary glands. These are small bunch of salivary glands present below the tongue. Present below the tongue and open through the ducts called ducts of Revenus. Ducts of Revenus. Okay, done. Okay, listen. Let's now continue. Okay. So now we talk about the saliva. So what are the contents of saliva? First thing. Okay. Saliva is a watery juice. It is actually around 90% there will be what 98% water will be there. Only 2% components are there. It will contain salivary mucosa that will make the saliva more jelly-like. It helps in lubrication. So it helps in lubricating food. Lubrication. Okay. Then it contains one antibacterial chemical called as lysozyme. This is antibacterial and kills the microorganisms in the food. Then it contains salivary amylase, which will digest the starch into maltose. Later I'll tell you how it is digested. So saliva, I told you, it's a watery content and it is helping to moisten the food. Because if there is a dry food, you can't eat it. Imagine just you take idli without any sambar and put it, you can't swallow it. Why? Because it's so dry. It cannot get entry. You have to mix it with saliva properly and you have to chew it, mix it with the saliva, then only it's going to, you can swallow it. Therefore, that is done by lubricating of food by salivary mucosa. Mucus, it's a jelly-like fluid of the saliva. Second is the lysozyme is a kind of antibacterial chemical. It kills some microorganisms. Whenever you're eating all the street food and whatever the microbes enter through the food, if you properly masticate, you masticate, mix with the saliva, the lot of bacteria and fungi and virus are killed in the mouth because of the antibacterial, not only virus and all. Bacteria are killed by the kind of secretions of chemical secretion of saliva, call it as lysozyme. Last one is salivary amylase. It is a digesting enzyme. It helps the indigestion of starch. It begins the digestion of starch. That's all is the content. So what is the saliva function? It moistens the food. It lubricates the food. It kills the microorganisms. It begins the digestion of food. Everything. And it acts as the mouth cleaner. All the time you should have to produce some saliva. Dry mouth is an indication of disease. Always your mouth should be very, producing saliva. So every 10 minutes once something you should put it in the mouth. At least some nallikai avla nallikai sanjumba ಏನು ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಾಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕೊಂತಾರೆ ಊಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ salivation improve ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಬಾಯಿ ಗಟ್ಟಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ most of the time microbes will grow very nicely because your saliva is not fresh. Therefore you keep continuously eating something at least 10 minutes once. Either you drink water or little bit you eat something. Somewhat is ginger piece. Normally ginger is available, no? Ginger cut ಮಾಡಿ pieces ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ salt ಹಾಕಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಹಾಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಲೀನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮೌತ್ ಕ್ಲೆನ್ಸಿಂಗ್. Saliva is a natural mouth cleanser. Right? Fine. Right on. Saliva. Salivary glands produce A watery fluid called saliva that consists of salivary mucosa that lubricates the food, Next one, lysozyme, an antibacterial chemical, Third one, salivary amylase, the enzyme that begins digestion of starch. Done. Right, last heading, functions of saliva. See, I'm still giving notes. Some people are already escaped. I don't know what they will write. When college reopens, they will have a very tough time. I'm going to check all your notes. Already people are getting away. 5 ನಿಮಿಷ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಅದು ಏನಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲೇನು ದೊಡ್ಡ ತಲೆಯಂಗು ವಿಷಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. Write down. Functions of saliva. First one. What's the function? You only tell me. Tell me. Those are already gone. I don't know. What you people are going to do later? I don't know. Lubrication of food. Right now, saliva helps in lubricating food. Second one, lysozyme kills the food microbes in food. ಇನ್ನ ಫುಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಇರಪ್ಪ 105. Next, salivary amylase begins digestion of starch. Full digest ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನು ಶುರು ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. Begins the digestion of starch. ಸರಿನಾ? So that's it then. Next you write the side heading gastric glands and keep it. Already ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜನ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾನು ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ನಾಳೆ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. Okay, so write the side heading gastric glands and leave it. ಎಲ್ಲ glands ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರಿನಾ? Okay then, fine. See you. Have a nice time. Enjoy the day. Bye.